Welcome to our sailboat Tigerlily. This is Colby, I'm Mariah, and these are our two cats, Namiria and Took. We're headed to California to prep for our adventures in Mexico. We hope you follow along and enjoy.
All right, we are finally coming into what's it called, Grays Harbor, which is Westport, Washington, or where the marina is Westport, Washington. And as you can see,
visibility is nil. Talking about less than a quarter mile. And of course, people love to leave crab pots
in navigational waters. Oh, yeah. So anyway, so we gotta watch out for crab pots, along with making sure we stay within this, let me show you, narrow channel here around the buoys. And it's always, yeah, I see it there. We're gonna turn before we get there, I think. The thing about the west coast of Washington and Oregon, the scary part of coming to the harbors are the bars. Now the bars are not places to get drinks. Bars are where the rivers meet the ocean, and okay. And they what happens is the river always flows as a river does, and depending on what the tide and wind is doing, they can be really treacherous to cross. And we're talking about giant waves, like giant. I mean, just last fall, a boat got capsized going through the bar off of Astoria, which is the worst one. But they're all bad. I've heard of boats bottoming out on the ground in between troughs, and it's not fun. But hopefully we're catching this at an okay tide. I think we are so far, knock on wood. You kind of got to time it, ebb flow, and all that marine BS. But yeah, there we are.
And Mariah's helping me dodge crab pots, which is very, very helpful.
So our plans have changed a little bit. We are currently sitting at a dock, and we are in Westport, Washington. We did not get very far. I think we kind of jumped the gun a little bit, would you say, leaving?
Yeah, it was, I don't know, what did we do? I think we did maybe 100 nautical miles. I don't know. I think it was a combination of things. Yeah. First, we were antsy about leaving, so we wanted to leave. Otherwise, we felt we were never going to leave.
And we wanted to leave with somebody, so
we wanted to leave with a buddy boat.
We wanted to all leave, so I think we kind of jumped the gun on when to leave.
Yeah, and not doing the weather routing stuff before. I did the weather routing software, but then I didn't look at the waves. I didn't look at any of that stuff. So
we think while we're here in Westport, we're going to hire a weather routing service.
Yeah.
And so right now we're about to go up to the cafe. But I guess also pulling in here was a little bit of a blessing in disguise, because what you said, a part of the wind vane has broken off, or you think
the part on the steering wheel that the wind vane connects to via the lines is there's a part in the back that broke, and it's really hard to, there's a little pin that you press in to lock it in place, and that wasn't really working. And then I saw some parts behind it that had fallen off, so I gotta take the wheel off, but I didn't really want to do that while offshore. So wind vane. So the wind vane, right, hooks up with the lines going through there, and those lines eventually come to this little guy right here. But this thing didn't compress, and you see this moving back here. Well, I looked behind it, and you can see a couple of loose pieces, and I'm not entirely sure what they're for yet. But so I gotta take the wheel off, get into it, and find out what went wrong there and fix that. Secondly, the motor. Thought that was a good place for it, but it is right in the way of the mizzen sheet. And I kind of knew it was when I put there, but I thought, oh, I'll never put the mizzen that far over. Well, I was wrong. So
I've got to fix that. Third,
These lines, kind of the same thing. These are lines coming from the Windvane to lower the rudder back there and everything. Well, I put them all here, which is a good spot for them, except for, again, it's right in the way of the track, so when you want to move that back and forth, they're kind of in the way. So I got to figure out something else to do with that. Kind of the same thing as the motor, but it's just stuff, I use that track a lot more than I thought I would offshore, so that's one thing. Another thing I heard is underneath where I'm sitting is where the propane tank was, or is, and I don't think it's tied down, because I heard things just sloshing around back here while we were, you know, rolling, which I don't think I really want with a propane tank, so I gotta fix that too. And lastly, since it was the first time offshore, I gotta do a rigging check and make sure everything, all the standing rigging is okay. All the chain plates are okay. Oh, and that guy. So we left it up because it's nice to have the shade, but I think it's a hazard while offshore sailing. It's okay coastal, intercoastal, because you know, but like you have, yeah, you have these lines that are in the way of everything, and you have to duck underneath. And the worst part, the most dangerous part, I think, is I can't see where the boom is, which is dangerous if you're jibing, because as you know, when you jibe, the boom swings to one side, and you just kind of hope your head's low enough.
That's a good name for a boat.
You just hope that your head's low enough that you don't get conked in the head. I feel like there were a couple of close calls, as much as I hate to say, while we were out there. So I'm gonna take this down, stow it away, and fix the other remaining things. And now we're going to town to get internet.
Hopefully find a cafe to hopefully upload a video that I've been trying to upload for over a day in Nia Bay.
Yeah. Get internet, get some tuna tackle, get some motion sickness supplies for her, and that's about it. That's all.
Treat ourselves with a freaking fish tacos.
Yeah, we're gonna get fish tacos.
Because
at the Alabama Aloha.
The Aloha Alabama barbecue restaurant.
Sorry.
Why is it called Aloha Alabama? Is it Hawaiian and Alabama?
All right, starting the projects. Ryan and I went out and got some breakfast. Tried to find a cafe with Wi-Fi. Found one, but the Wi-Fi wasn't so great, so couldn't upload our video to YouTube yet. So sorry about that. Getting kind of delayed, and we don't really want to turn Starlink on until we're in California, or Starlink back on. But first item on the list, most important, Windvane. So let's get that kind of figured out here.
All right, well that was kind of a quick and simple fix. So you have this, what do you call this, retaining ring right here that holds in this this plastic bushing, this black part you can see right here, and that had come off, which means this whole wheel kind of came off, and that's why it wasn't sticking properly. So I'm glad it was an easy fix, and if I ever need to do that, I feel more comfortable doing that offshore. I just wasn't sure what was wrong, so that's good. I'm glad that was nice and simple. All right, steering fixed. I greased everything up, and it actually feels even better than it did before, so that's good. Now let's see what's the next thing I want to tackle here. Let's go ahead and take down the cover. Cover's off. It's much more open. It just feels a little safer. All right, I got the motor taken down, and I think here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna move the motor off to the side over here. The iridium antenna will go over there. Heck, even the iridium will probably go down there. No, because that's gonna be there. Yeah, the iridium antenna will go over there. Maybe down there. I don't know. I'll figure out where I'm gonna put the iridium antenna, where it's out of the way. And then that will be it. And then it won't get in the way of the sheet for the mizzen. Well, I moved the iridium antenna down there. I was gonna think of putting the motor right there, but what I figured out after the fact, this way is actually kind of weak, and I don't trust the motor sitting up there like that. It was fine back here because this is a lot more strong, but side to side, not so well over here. back and forth is fine, just side to side. So that's not where the motor's gonna go. So I'm not entirely sure where I'm gonna put that yet. Might be able to find a place kind of underneath the seats here, maybe. Or I find a place for it inside. Or what I really don't want to do is lash it out on deck somewhere. I don't want to do that. So anyway, I'll find a place for it. It's not exactly pretty, but it fits. Well, I still got some good weather. Let's do a rigging check. Start with the shrouds. Upper and lower. Oh, that's still good. I don't see any cracks. Let's see. Looks good. All right, it is later this evening. I got all the projects outside I need to get done. Found a place for the motor, got the Windvane part fixed, checked all the rigging, and took the cover down. There's a few more things outside I want to do, but I can do it tomorrow. I have a few more projects also that I want to get done. Not that happened because of offshore, but because I didn't get them done before we left Nia Bay. And I know there's a marine store nearby, so I'll probably walk there tomorrow. But next up is changing the engine oil. I just turned on the engine for a little bit, let it warm up so we could get some hot water going, somewhere I could take a shower. We both took showers, and
Both take showers.
yeah, so we can both take showers, so we're not so stinky. And yeah, now we're gonna change the oil. Alright, oil change done. Engine runs and looks good, sounds good. That's something to check off my list. And yeah, I want to check coolant again, but I'll have to do it when the engine's not warm. So I'll do that tomorrow. And now I just gotta dump the waste oil, and that'll be that.
As you can hear, we are about to leave Westport. It is like 5:45 in the morning, and it's 6 o'clock in the morning. And yeah, we're about to pull out of the dock and head for, I think, Newport.
We are maybe 3 hours away from Westport, or past Westport, heading south. And I wasn't going to today, but I set the hook behind us just to, why not? If we catch something, we catch something. I had planned on catching tuna. Sorry, driving the boat, videoing, and catching fish all at the same time. But instead, I got a salmon. So we are gonna have salmon for dinner, and obviously one of our cats has already figured out that it's out here, and he wants a piece. Tiki, what do you think? And anyway, yeah, salmon for dinner, so I'll flay it up and get it going. Good morning. As you can see, we're cold and in the fog again. But we are maybe an hour and a half outside of Newport, Oregon right now. Alright, driving the boat. I got a boat coming up ahead of me here. And we drove all the way from Westport, except I don't feel like a real sailor almost, because there was absolutely no wind, and I wasn't just gonna drift out there, you know, and have a whole another day or two of coming into Newport, because we want to get the seas out here. They're just confused, right? Like the swells. At least last night it was swells. It wasn't like it was our first night out on open ocean. The swells are a lot easier, but it's still uncomfortable because they're coming from different directions, and their period's a little bit longer, but it's just still uncomfortable. I don't know how else to describe it to you.
And of course it rained last night and was wet, and we got splashed by a whale, or Mariah got splashed by a whale. And so, yeah, we went ahead and just motored all the way from Westport to Newport, which has taken probably 30 hours or so. I'm looking at the tides. It's not really in our favor right now for going through the bar, but I'll contact the Coast Guard on 22 Alpha and see what they say, how the conditions in the bar are, and if we can safely make it through. And I will admit to you right now, I was talking about this with Mariah. To be perfectly honest, so far I'm not having fun. This isn't fun to me. Like, don't get me wrong, it's a feat and it feels kind of good to, like, you know, we made it all the way to Newport, even if we were under motor for like 90% of it, and you know, it feels good. But this is just crappy. I don't like the weather here. It's cold, it's damp, it's all the things that I don't want it to be. But I'm not going to give up now. We're not going to give up now. We're waiting until we pass San Francisco, because what everyone says is that once you pass San Francisco, the seas change, the weather changes, and maybe not necessarily that it gets warmer, maybe a little bit, but but more as in the seas kind of figure out what they're doing. They're not coming from every which angle, right? The rollers are from one direction. The wind always comes from one direction, or the wind at least is more predictable. So we'll see what happens. We made it to Newport.
Ooh, that smells nice. And under we go.